if your other half is tired of you giving yourself a Valentine's gift by gifting them an orchid on Valentine's Day, well, here's a way to show them you really care while still getting that orchid that you really want. Welcome to the Nature Company. If this is the kind of information you're interested in, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and that notification bell to be notified of all our upcoming videos so you don't miss out on a thing. And last year when you bought an orchid for your Valentine and they said no more orchids, please, you're buying plants for yourself and not for me. Well, I've got this little arts and crafts project you can do to make them really appreciate the love that you're giving them, and in such still give them an orchid. We know that's just for you, but shh, they'll appreciate the hard work that you put into it. So what we're going to be doing is just taking one of these little forms that we've got from the florist. These are usually just filled up with carnations and things and used for all sorts of ideas. All we do is we take out the oasis and we put that aside. We can use that for other things. And look, we've got a beautiful solid backing. So if we do attach this to a wall, we're not going to get moisture on the wall all the time. So that's always a nice thing with things like this, is thinking ahead and knowing what you want to get done out of it. So here we have fairly large holes around the side that we're going to have to make sure our fine bark doesn't fall out of. So we'll get to that. But first, let's make the covering so we can get all the good stuff on the inside. Yeah, we just have this really basic plastic garden mesh. Probably be able to get it at any hardware store or any garden supply store or your local nursery. And all we're going to do is put this down and trace our heart around the base of it. There we go, just using a little marker. I'm not sure if you can see that, but we've got the black outline of the heart. And then lickety split, we just take a pair of kitchen scissors. Nice thing about this, it's easy to work with, and we can just cut out our heart shape. There we go. Make sure it fits. Perfect. And then we can just trim off any bits that are sticking out over the edges. Now we've got our good old trusty sphagnum moss. It's nice long fibers, so that's going to fill up those gaps so it won't allow that bark to escape. Also, the other good part about using the sphagnum moss is because it's so water absorbent. When you are watering your orchid, it's going to absorb the excess water that runs off your bark, and for one, keep that humidity and moisture close enough to your plant but far enough away from the roots, and also it's going to stop it dripping out the bottom, so you're not going to make too much of a mess of your wall. There we go. So just all the way around the edges. And then for a phalaenopsis, all we're going to take is this fine grade bark. This fine grade orchid bark we're just going to throw in the middle here, and that's going to give us a wonderful rooting media for our phalaenopsis to root into. To stop this all falling out, there we go. We use our heart cutout to put over the top. And now all we're going to be using, you can use green thread. I've got this green wire that I use all the time. It's nice and flexible. And then you're just going to be stitching it through the gaps, through the holes, just to hold all of this in place so the media is not going to go anywhere. I guess it does help that I've sewn more buttons on in my life than I care to count, but really this is the easiest little process ever. And then just trim that off. The nice thing about this wire is you can just twist it together to get a nice tight finish, and it's going to be really neat. There we go. There's your base that we're going to be planting our phalaenopsis on top of. We're just going to go around and trim off excesses. There we go. Already that's so pretty. So let's see now how we're going to get the orchid on this. I like to use a slightly finer mesh now that I'm going to make a pocket with. Again, with this pocket, we're going to put it in through the corner. That way we're going to use less of our mesh and we're not going to waste as much. Mark how high up we want the pocket to start and mark along the edges so we can cut off any excess. And then we can just cut along the lines. Now with this pocket, all we're going to do is stitch around the outside edges and leave this center part open so we can put the orchid and a little bit of media in through that. And then stitching just straightforward, same way as we did previously. So also with this top pocket, make sure you're cutting it marginally bigger so it does give you that little bit of extra space to allow for that media to go inside. And there we go with our pocket. Okay, we'll just trim off the bottom end here just to make it look neat. And then there's our beautiful baby that we're going to be planting directly into here. So we'll just remove it from its pot. Squeeze it loose. Remember to remove this pillow or cushion that the seedling was originally rooted into. Make sure the roots are nice and moist so they're a little bit more supple like this so that you can work with them easily without worrying about snapping them. So you can let them soak for about half an hour or so just to ensure that they're nice and supple. If you want to, you can go through the effort of washing off all of this debris under running water, but I'll show you what I do. I just grab my garlic tonic and give that a good spray in around the roots to make sure that if there is any infection that it's picked up either in store or on transport into the store or wherever, that can all be sorted out before it actually goes anywhere else. So just make sure those roots are nicely sprayed all the way through so that they're dripping off. Take a small amount of our bark, push it in down to the base of the pocket, spread open the root system a bit, and gently make sure all the roots are nicely in the pouch. We can then just go fill up with our orchid mix. We're just trying to ensure that the pouch is filled up with this mix and some of the roots are covered up so that they will be allowed some of that extra moisture, because this is going to be hanging, and as you can see, air movement is going to happen right through this media. So we just got to make sure that it's all nicely set in. Stand it upright so we can make sure that bark's not going to just fall all over the place. And there we go, all settled in. And even if they say, you bought the orchid for yourself, you can always say, well, I gave my heart to you. And if they're not completely gobsmacked as to the amount of effort that you've put in to disguise a present for yourself, well, that's on them. If you have found any information in this video valuable, please hit that like button, that subscribe button down below, and that notification bell, bing bong, to be notified of all our upcoming videos so you don't miss out on a thing. Bing bong, to be notified of all our upcoming videos so you don't miss out on a thing.